Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Spellbinders just released their 4-petal collection and there are so many fun products. My favorite item from the entire collection is called Wonderful Tulips. It's a hot foil plate and coordinating die set. You can use that on its own, but there's also a coordinating stencil set called Wonderful Tulips Layered Stencils. There are 6 stencils included in the set, so you can add all the beautiful color and dimension to your tulips. The next die set from the collection is called Essential 4 Petals Labels. There are 10 dies included, and this will be perfect to add images or a sentiment. And there's also a new floral die set called 4 Petal Thank You Floral. So we have lots of different flowers and stems and also the sentiment thank you. The final item I picked up from the collection is Thanks Enclosed Sentiments. There are 42 cutting dies included in this set, and you can see all the different sentiments. You have the word and also the outline, so that's always really nice. And you can mix and match those words for a large variety of sentiments. And there are other items included in the collection that I didn't pick up. And I will provide a link in the description box if you want to check out the entire collection. For today's video, I'll be focusing on the Wonderful Tulips hot foil plate. I've already hot foiled the image, just haven't removed the foil yet. I'll slowly pull this away. I chose a beautiful gold mirror foil. And my lights are just reflecting completely off all that beautiful shine. Now I'll take the coordinating die, place it along the edge of the tulips. And it doesn't completely cut around the tulips since the image is designed to be in the lower left-hand corner of your project. To hold the die in place, I'll use some tacky mint tape from scrapbook.com. Now if you're using this stencil, I would suggest waiting on the die cutting and do the stenciling first. Not really sure why I decided to cut those out. But the image is still attached since I didn't cut it free from that white cardstock piece. The 6 stencils are numbered with the order to use them. Can't really see it on the video, but there is a small number 1. They also have holes in the exact same position, so it's easy to line up the stencil with your image. Now I didn't use those little circles to line everything up since my panel was an A2 size and the stencil is a little bit larger. But I found it easy enough to use to just eyeball and lay on top, since you can see where those openings will line up on the flowers. I'm using more of the mint tape to hold my cardstock and stencil in place, and then one more piece of tape on the left side to hold it to my mini stencil mat. I'm using Catherine Pooler inks, and the first ink color I selected is Do-Si-Do. The next ink color I'm using is Polished. There are 3 stencils for the tulips and 3 stencils for the leaves and stems. But I decided to just use 2 ink colors for each of those. I'm going for a very light color on the tulips. Once I have the second stencil all lined up, I'll put a light coat of the polished ink color. Pink tulips are my absolute favorite flower. I live in Western Washington, and every spring I try to head to the tulip fields in Skagit Valley. I've probably been there over a dozen times now, but every single time I go, it's just amazing to see thousands and thousands of tulips. For the final layer on the tulips, I went back to the Do-Si-Do color. So you can see that beautiful light, sort of a peachy pink color. Now I'll start working on the stems. The first color I'm using is Sage, and this stencil layer only focuses on the stems of the tulips. The next ink color I'm using is Eucalyptus. It's a little darker green, and this stencil layer focuses on that wider portion of the leaves. And in the upper right hand corner on this stencil layer, there's also a lattice background. It's fairly small, but you can use it to create a beautiful background on your card. And I will show some cards later in the video where I use that part of the stencil. Now I'm on to the very final stencil to add the last of the color to the leaves. I'm using the Sage ink color again. So now I can remove this stencil and look at that beautiful tulip image. Looks like I spent all this time coloring, but it was really easy to do using the stencil set. Now I'll start assembling the card. For the very background, I'm using some craft colored cardstock. To add a little bit of detail, I'm bringing in some Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the clear color in the pinstripe style with the gold overlay. I'm adding the widest width and the medium width on the very right side of the card. And at the top of the panel, I'll add just one of the peel-offs, and this is the widest width. I'll wrap those ends around the back, put some ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. I put some foam dimension on the back of the tulip image. I'll remove the release paper and adhere that image in the lower left-hand corner, trying to make sure to get it flush to the very edge. The sentiment is "Have a wonderful day," and this is included with the wonderful Tulips hot foil set. And I used the same gold mirror glimmer foil for that. And I'll adhere the sentiment in place to the right of the tulips using some Barely Art glue. For embellishments on the card, I'm using small clear dewdrops from Honeybee Stamps. There's 2 different sizes, and I like that nice clear look. I think it works well with the tulip images. There's no adhesive on the back. I'll put a small drop of glue, use an embellishment wand to pick those up and press them in place. So there is my finished card, and I did end up making a total of 3 using this design. 2 of the cards I used the same ink colors and the craft background. The second similar card, I did make the ink colors just a little bit darker. For the third card, I had to make some pink tulips. And for the very background, I used some grid pattern paper from Sunny Studio. The glimmer foil is a beautiful magenta color, and I used a lighter glimmer foil color for the sentiment. I was having so much fun choosing different glimmer foils for the tulip image. The next 2 cards have a similar design but completely different colors. The card on the right, I used some craft cardstock, hot foiled with some white glimmer foil. It's a very matte finish. Then I used some gold and yellow ink colors for the tulips. The card on the left has this lovely silver holographic glimmer foil and beautiful teal colors for the tulips. The sentiment is from Spellbinders' Tiered Tray Sentiment Set. I think it works perfectly with the beautiful tulip images. And for the final 2 cards I made, I thought it would be fun to do the hot foiling on some black shimmer cardstock. So for this card, I only used the stencil for the very background. When using the stencil, I first did it in the upper right-hand corner. Then I placed it on top of that already stenciled portion so I can continue it in the lower right-hand corner and the upper left-hand corner. I cut out the sentiment "Happy Hello" from some black cardstock, and both of these words are included on the new Thanks Enclose sentiment die set. Now here's another look at the 7 cards I made using Spellbinders' brand new 4-petal collection. I still have 2 of the die sets from the collection that I haven't used, so you can expect to see those in a future video. I really wanted this video to be all about the gorgeous tulips. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.